Hey Insiders, it's Keelan here from Success Insider, Community Manager, and I've got a very special guest for you today. She's a recent graduate from LMA or Life Mastery Achievers. That's our flagship course here at Success Insider. She's going to share with us her experiences on the course, how it's been for her, give you some insights, but more importantly, what she's been able to achieve for herself. So without any further ado, do you want to start with what's your name, where are you based, and what do you do for work?
Sure, absolutely. Hi, everybody. This is Dena Shelley. I am based in St. Louis, Missouri, and I am a sales rep / business development rep for a software company. We help companies get more efficient and effective in their accounts payable and accounts receivable activities.
Okay, you sound like a busy woman.
Yes, very busy,
Okay.
very busy, especially now with COVID. We've been really, really busy.
Oh, wow, really? So I guess it's a bit of a slight silver lining in that sense, as dark as maybe times could be at the moment.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. Okay. So what I want to start with is if we can just go back in time slightly to think about how you were feeling before you joined LMA. What was your motivation for doing so? In the sense of what was the main obstacle that you were experiencing in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, I think looking back at it, that honestly, I ran across the course by accident. I was looking for a meditation type thing for sleep one night, and all of a sudden, I heard Tim's voice. Usually, I would just skip past that, but for some reason, something he said made me stop and keep listening. So I just kept listening, and by the end of it, I think I was already signing up before he finished. So,
Wow.
so I sort of ran across it by accident. I feel like I had been stuck for a long, long time, and I didn't even really know why. I felt, I don't know, just kind of like I was always looking for something to change. Well, tomorrow will be different. Something will change in my life. Something will happen, right? That'll change my life.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of got up, and I love my job, but I'm also really burnt out. So I felt like I was forcing myself to get up and go to work. And I was like, oh, I got to do it again. Just felt kind of, I don't know, kind of unhappy and frustrated and looked for something, but I didn't know what I was looking for. So I just kept kind of muddling through the days.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed something to change, but I didn't know what. So I wasn't doing anything about it. Really.
Okay, so was that mainly career focused then? It was something about your career and what you were doing day to day that was making you feel a bit weighed down?
I would say probably most of it, yes, was more career focused. However, if I look now with a lot of what I've learned, there was a lot more to it. It dribbled into my relationships, it dribbled into, friendships, it dribbled into just what I do day by day. So I think initially my brain thought it was all about the career, but it was a lot more than that.
Okay, that's really interesting. We'll move to that in just a moment. But before we do so, if we just think about, so you come across the video and you said you were already signing up. So maybe this question might not actually apply to you that much, but I'm just curious were there any barriers that came up, or what was the main barrier that came up when you were thinking about whether or not to enroll on LMA? And if there were, how did you overcome that?
My biggest barrier in the past would have been the money. Honestly, I just wouldn't have had it. So unfortunately, I don't know that you need to know this part of the story, but my brother passed away in September.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that.
Very small life insurance, yes, a very, very sad, hurtful, just a hard event. But I did get a small life insurance, and I said, you know what? He would want me to do this to make my life better. So I did it. I just jumped in and said, I've got the money, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to use it to change my life.
Well done for making that investment. I think a lot of people find that step difficult, which is why I asked the question. So thank you so much for having the openness to share that with us. I really appreciate that. So thinking now about the course, you said there were a few surprises in terms of the direction that it took. Maybe you came in thinking, all right, let's figure out how I can get past this little work rut I'm in, and then a few other things start to emerge along the journey. So what for you really was that centered around? If I can ask that, what was the biggest surprise or happiest moment, insights, that sort of thing, that maybe you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I don't know that we could do it in 20 minutes. We probably have 20 hours, but I
Sure.
think the biggest thing is really just enlightening to my own limiting beliefs. You know, what my thoughts and feelings were making my life all about. It was making me behave and act and, you know, get certain things in my life. And I didn't really realize that. And one of the bigger things, excuse me, losing my voice, that you just mentioned is just that whole scarcity mindset. You know, it was like, wait a second, I don't have the money to do that. I can't do that. You know, maybe in the future I'll be able to do that. And so there was a lot of deep rooted money issues in my mind that obviously came from a long time ago, but were deeply rooted. So that was a big thing for me to just learn about what was I thinking on a regular basis, and that what was that becoming as far as how I was acting and feeling and behaving, and you know, so it was all inside of me and I just didn't even realize it. So there was a lot in this class that helped me. I mean, just I don't know how much you want to give away for people that might take the course, but there were a lot of tools that allowed us to dig deep in ourselves and allowed me to figure out, you know, what am I struggling with, and more importantly, why, and then learn that I have the choice to change all that. You know, it's all within inside of me to change that. So that was just huge. Just lots of different things about really down at the core of it, how I believe and what I think affects everything else in my life.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it really sounds like, for what you're saying, you're in a place before where you're aware there's a problem, you want to address it, but you'd almost, just from what you've said, tell me if I'm wrong, but you'd externalize maybe the causes for it, and then on the course you've been like, well, actually, this is something to do with me. And the beauty of that, as it sounds like you're aware of, is that we can control that, right?
Right? Absolutely. I
Yeah.
didn't realize how much I was allowing my circumstances control my thoughts and my behavior. Externally was happening, I would internalize that, and then in life I would act in a way that was whatever was happening in my life at that point, you know. So that's been a huge thing. I realized that I have to be aware of all that, and I'm very conscious of what I'm thinking all the time. And when I hop into that old behavior, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, stop. You've got a different way of looking at this. An event is just an event. You apply the meaning and you decide what your reality is. So I am changing my reality with the tools from the course. And it's just been really phenomenal. I was thinking the other day, I was thinking, you know, since I started the course, everything has changed. And then I thought back and I went, you know what? Everything hasn't really changed. Outside of me, I've changed.
Yeah.
And that's just been huge.
Yeah, it's that meaning we're assigning to events, and there's so much power in there, isn't there, in terms of controlling our own feelings. And if we don't do that, we tend to be blown this way and that by every external event, whether it's someone's behavior or the weather or whatever it is. But the level of power it gives you when you realize that you can control how you're relating to these things, and I can really see that in you. That's why I'm kind of harping on that. That's so good to see. So let's just drill slightly deeper, I suppose, into that, just in terms of the contrast. So you were saying prior to LMA, you were feeling a bit sluggish and maybe closed in, and something wasn't quite right with where you were at with your job. And so each day was feeling a bit like, oh, it's harder to move through the day. So compared to now, what's the contrast like for you day to day?
I think I wake up every day with a different attitude. I go to work now and go, okay, you know, I am going to work and what I do is helping people. So how can I not want to do that? Right.
Yeah.
And so my whole mindset from the very start of the day is different. So that is helping considerably. I've also done some other things. It's given me the courage and the process and the power to talk to some people about doing something different. You know, I've started looking into maybe doing my own business, a side business at first, you know, and kind of build that up until so I've taken some steps to do some different things in my life that before I just, nothing's going to change, you know. Different. I don't have the time, the money, the resources to do it and keep my full-time job. But I do. It's how I manage within that time, you know. And now I've got the confidence to go out and take action, take those steps. Maybe make something different.
Yeah.
So if I am so burnt out that I don't want to do this, even though I realize what I do is really good and it's helping people. So mindset alone changes my day-to-day focus. I've also taken action to maybe start to do something different to my future. So I don't look back 20 years from now and say, oh man, if I just would have done that. Oh, I could have done that. I should have done that. You know, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be 20 years from now going, feeling the same way.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So that's changed significantly.
Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. It's making me happy just just listening to that. It's brilliant. So if we maybe final two questions now, then first of which is, can you think of the maybe biggest moment for you where you remember kind of having, because a lot of people have spoken to you, have had a sense of a time where they felt like, oh wow, that's something that directly was for me, because obviously we've got several weeks and we're addressing different components, and there's a narrative to it as well, isn't there? Starting off looking at emotions and ending with connecting with people outside of ourselves. So for you, which part of that journey would you say was the most beneficial for you, or the most, as I said before, kind of surprising? If you could pick one.
If I had to pick one, it would definitely be the whole part around the scarcity mindset, the money mindset.
Money mindset,
and you know, thinking of gratitude and abundance, and just thinking of that in a different way, because you know, I feel like I've spent my whole life going, nope, ain't got the money. No, we can't do that. Oh my God, you know, we can't do that. And it's just it's been a whirlwind, and I feel like I've allowed that mindset to determine what I can and can't do in life, you know. And I've allowed the circumstances around that mindset. You know, my husband's truck broke down last week, and I started to go back to my old self. Oh my God, I can't afford this. And I was like, wait a second, we can figure this out. It's just a different way of thinking about it. Let's figure out how we can, you know, stay with this and get that truck fixed and move on, and let's not stress out about this. Just that was probably the biggest thing.
That's fantastic.
Still working on it. That's not solved, but it's a day-to-day thing, and I'm thinking through it every time something happens. My heat is out right now. It's 3 degrees outside, negative 13, and I think I got it up to about 58 in my office. So it's cold in this house, and my old self would have been freaking out. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? My new self is like, okay, I have a space heater, I've got a fireplace, we're okay, we can figure this out. You know, that's been huge for me.
I can really see it. It's just taking control, isn't it? And going back to what you were saying before, that awareness of the control we do have over our inner world, it really sounds like that's giving you a platform to then start to really how would you phrase it, to look outside of yourself from that stability and start to take control of some other areas that maybe you feel like could change up a little bit.
Absolutely. And having that positive attitude toward it, you know, and mindset about it completely, you know, just really staying in that conscious present moment of what's happening right now, and more importantly, how am I reacting to it? You know.
Yeah, exactly. That's brilliant. So last question now, just in a couple minutes we've got remaining, unfortunately. If you were, and maybe actually you may well be, there'll be people watching this who are on the fence and thinking, oh, could this really be what I'm looking for? Could this help me? I'm feeling stuck or depressed or whatever it may be. What would you say to that person, just in terms of your honest experience? If they were on the fence, what would you say?
I would say you owe it to yourself to do it, because you will thank yourself. Just do it. Just jump in, because I promise within the first week, within the first probably hour of the first week, you're going to say, this is something good. This is something that's going to help. And then by the end of it, you're going to find out that it's a journey that will change your life. It will change you. It will change your life. And you have such a huge community of support. You're not alone in it. So the fear is you might be alone, and can I do this all by myself? You're not alone. You've got all these people that are helping and supporting, and you're learning from them, and they're learning from you, and it's amazing. Just do it. I promise you won't regret it. You have a money back guarantee. So if 4 weeks in you're not learning anything, which I pretty much guarantee that's not going to happen, you get your money back. So you have nothing to lose. I mean, you've got everything to gain, and a whole new future, and a whole new you to just be proud of, and live your life. You only got one to live, right?
Exactly. Well, Dena, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Thanks, Keelan.